shows once more. Climb the hill to see you rolling down to be with me, he said. All he wants from me is my company. I can see he's calling with his colleague introduction. All he wants from me is my company. I can see he's calling with his colleague introduction. All he wants from me is my company. I can see he's calling with his colleague introduction. The moon shone bright on the love that night. The line cast out so tight. All he wants from me is my company. I can see he's calling with his colleague introduction. Come to see you, such a draw. Thoughts of foreign shores once more.
Alright guys, here we are again, another episode of What's Happening 613, and I'm here with Hayley and Tim from Hayley and the Pirate Queens. How are you guys doing?
We're good, thank you.
Good. Very good. So go ahead and introduce what's your full name?
So I'm Hayley Austin.
Hayley Austin and
Tim Hadley.
Right on. Cool. So how long has the Hayley and the Pirate Queens music movement been going on?
I think it's been about 5 years now, I suppose. Must be around that. I was playing with Peter Fletcher, and then I met Tim at a song circle, and we decided to start doing more stuff. And then we started getting bookings and things. So I suppose it was around 5 years ago that we actually started Hayley and the Pirate Queens.
Yeah, that's really cool, because I remember when I first met you, it was around song circles. You're always doing this really, really cool acoustic thing, and yeah, a couple times I've seen you with Peter Fletcher, he was on like a ukulele and just changing things up real cool. And then I seen the stand-up bass come in, and I was like so jealous because I was looking for a stand-up bass player forever. Right. Yeah. And I came to Hayley and I was like, who's that? You're like, leave him alone, Joel.
Yeah, we got him.
That's so cool.
That's funny.
And then you found your own brilliant stand-up.
That's right. I actually I had to force him to do that. I had to put one in his hands.
Oh, well.
He's like, I don't play stand-up. I don't play stand-up. Just try it.
Yeah.
I have one, try it. And it worked. So
He sounded great.
yeah, now we got one in our band. So that's nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
So everything's cool.
Yeah. You guys have a really, really cool music style. What music style would you call what you guys are up doing here? It's really neat because of your British accent and your British influence, I feel, kind of really touches in on it, right?
Yeah, I think we've definitely brought something different to the area just because I'm from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And Tim's originally from Ottawa and then moved to Toronto. So we've come in from other places and brought different influences in there. But definitely the English stuff, I think I've carried that over with me, being really into PJ Harvey. And a lot of British, punk really changed to me. When I heard punk, it really made a big difference in my life. So just small bands like the UK Subs and, bands like that really influenced me.
Yeah.
So that's all really local to England. It's not, it's different from here.
Yeah,
so
totally.
That's come with me.
Yeah, and I think I grew up with English punk as well. I started out in punk bands back in the day, before the pop punk that came out in the 80s or whatever. And I think Hayley and I have a very similar attitude. I would say that, what we do is true to the original, late 70s punk.
Totally. I grew up, and even when I interviewed Bill Wood, he said he remembers going over there and like it was such a different scene over there, like that music, and then he brought it back, and then everyone's like, what are you doing with this? He's like, no, this is what's gonna be cool, you know what I mean? So it is such a cool, like that, it's raw, it really is. I almost feel like it's raw to me. That's the feel I get from the music, you know?
Yeah, it's got a good energy, and it's more sort of DIY, you know, it comes from that place, and just wanting to make a noise and make it energetic as well, like nothing too dowdy. Something with guts, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. It's really cool. Well, we had you guys over at the Sterling Festival show during the pandemic here, in between things, and I have to say it was like my favorite set. It really was. Maybe it's because I see everybody a lot and I don't see you guys too often, but you guys were so much fun. You back behind her, like you were so strong standing there, and everybody loved you so much, man. Because you guys are so much fun. It's awesome.
Well, I have to kind of like, because I'm in front of the mic, I have to stay static.
Yeah.
And then I'll see Tim off to one corner of my eye, like and I'm like, oh, what's he up to now? And then he'd be doing a back to back with me, and I'm like, oh my god.
It's good though.
Oh yeah. Well, it comes from I guess I've always been kind of silly like that and stuff. And,
well, that's a musician's heart, and it's if you're gonna play a show and you're gonna be in a certain kind of band, you gotta dress for that band. You can't come out in like khakis and a golf shirt if you're in an old time band. Like I gotta dress proper when I'm playing, and you guys are like, it's part of the show. You know what I mean? It makes people want to come back and see what you're gonna do the next time, and
it comes from the heart as well, which is important, and it's entertaining.
It is.
Like I know, as well, I used to go see tons of live bands, and I know what I like, and it doesn't have to be brilliantly done, but it has to have a good attitude. Yeah. And they have to be enjoying themselves.
Right, and taking a little bit from every person too, and making your own style.
Yes.
That's the great thing about music, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm so into hip hop, I'm so into like metal, I'm so into rock, but then I bring it all in and it makes my music, right?
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing too with that.
Yeah, I really dislike being pigeonholed in any way.
Yeah.
Through the way you look or the music, I don't think anything. Like, why do we want to be pigeonholed? And why put yourself in a certain genre?
Yeah.
Like, why do that? There's enough people out there that want to make you into a certain thing because it makes it easier for them to digest. But why do that?
Totally.
Why not take a bit of everything, as you say, and we're stronger and it's more beautiful that way,
Make a beautiful punch that way, something that's really tasty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's really cool. Well, let's get into a little bit of the history. How long have you been playing for?
I suppose I was first given a guitar. My brother gave me my first guitar. He's a drummer. He drums. It's a pity he's not. I'd love it if he was in this country right now and he could do drums for us. It'd be brilliant, but that can't happen. So he gave me a guitar, and like most people, it sat in a corner for a while, getting dusty, and nothing really much happened with it. Also, I was I'm left-handed as well, and it kind of sat there. It was probably before the days when you could go on YouTube and get lessons, and it wasn't until a friend of mine said, I'll teach you. She calls me H. I'll teach you H, and I was like, that'd be brilliant. And once a week for as long as I can remember, we did lessons, but it wasn't really lessons, it was just getting together and having
a jam. Yeah, exactly.
And that was when I found out I played left-handed, because we were, I was picking up the guitar in different ways, and at that point I restrung it, and then that was like when I was like, okay, now I really like guitar. So that was when I started really playing. And then I wanted to sing more, so then I started taking singing lessons. And the lady, she was young, that was taking lessons with us, she was a singer-songwriter. And she said, bring your guitar and we'll work on the songs that you're working on. So we went away from the piano, because we were doing a lot of scales and kind of piano stuff, and she was like, bring your guitar in and let's get onto that, because that's obviously what's really at your heart. Mm-hmm. And that was brilliant for me. And as I say, she was young and she was a songwriter, and it really, again, I grew again. And she was a great influence on me, Sarah Clark, and we went to open stages, and she got me doing open stages.
That's really cool.
So I think that was what really kicked me off, and she got me doing the actual performances as well. But Jodie, my friend, got me playing. She got me to dust off that guitar in the corner.
That's really cool.
And and that was it. And I was always going to see bands before that, so I knew I wanted to play because I'd seen these bands, and I knew I could do that too.
Well, going from that, from what they did for you, is I've seen you at Song Circles be doing that for other people, because Bill Mill, I remember he came to a Song Circle and he was just learning, and you stood right behind him, and he's like, I just learned this, Hayley taught me a couple chords, and he wanted to sing this song, and you did it for him, and it's the same thing. It's music's such a beautiful thing that way, right? To pass it on and show somebody a couple of simple chords, and then you can hum along to a song, right?
Yeah,
It's
you
so
pass
neat.
that on. And that's all part of the sharing. That's what music is. Like, we're all sharing it, and if you can help somebody, great. And if you can help them just by playing something, you're sharing a song and making them go home happy.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
What a great thing
What
to
a
give.
buzz, right?
Yeah, it's really important. I don't think it was until somebody said that, when I was doing open stage, I was so worried about getting everything right. This was back in England when I first started. It wasn't until somebody came up to me and said, oh, thank you for like sharing your songs. And I was like, oh, this isn't about me and, you know, what I'm doing. It's about other people.
Yeah.
And that's when it really hit home. And, oh, that's cool. I'm doing something that somebody likes.
Yeah, totally.
It's given a little bit of something. It feels good.
It does. Yeah, music is a universal language, and it speaks to people. A baby dances to it, and an old person, you know, and like baby can't help but move to music, and that just shows something, you know.
Yeah.
It's really
it
neat.
does. Yeah.
Loose rights from the start, I'll have to make my own again. One of its that lights hold up the sky. I have suspicions of that young lady outside of my mind. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. We will need a bow, asking is not an option. On the floats, no feathers, no stairs, an angel's kissing spring. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. This is changing motion, a place deep enough to swim. I'll take you on board. Many years are added to those added, already being collected. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. The snow moved out the way for the summer. It's time the people drained from the streets. Tarmatured halls, float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go. Float on the ease of living, let me take you where you need to go.
What about you, Tim? When did you get into your music life?
Well, ever since I can remember, music has just had a hold on me, and I grew up, playing in bands and stuff, and I moved to Toronto, and I met a group of people there, and we formed a band, and we're called the Grievous Angels, and we've been around now for about 33 years. And I played with them, and that's when I got my first upright, and I had it, and I met a fellow, and he said, well, why don't you come over and play with us? And I got together with the guys, and I said, well, I don't really know how to play, and my friend was just, oh, you can do it, we'd played a little bit before, and the first time we got together, we played a bunch of Stompin' Tom songs, and this is when Stompin' Tom was retired and stuff, and he had a few songs that he'd written, my friend Charlie Angus, and I said, well, that's really fun, but we can't go into the bars on Queen Street and play Stompin' Tom songs. We're going to get killed. He's like, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So we got some gigs down on Queen Street and King Street. We used to play the Spadina Hotel, the Cabana Room there. And it's funny because the punks loved what we were doing. It was their music. We had a fiddle player, and Charlie played the acoustic guitar, and I had the stand-up bass, and we had a drummer and a woman that sang with us, and it was their music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the music of the people, and I don't know how we knew it because his music never got played on the radio, but somehow it's in our cultural DNA.
Yeah,
so
totally.
We made a cassette in 1988, and we recorded a Tom song on it, and we sent it to Tom, our little cassette that we made, and he wrote us back a really nice letter. Tom was great that way. He would always, anybody that wrote to him, he would take the time to write them back, and he said, well, boys, thanks a lot for sending me your tape. You played the song way too fast and you got all the words wrong, but you keep it up and stuff. So, the Angels, like I said, we've been together about 33 years. We just released our 7th or our 8th album. It just came out summer before the storm, but our singer-songwriter, Charlie Angus, somewhere around the early 2000s got elected to the House of Commons. He's the Member of Parliament for Timmins, James Bay, so he had to take a little bit of time off. And around that time, my friend, he's a folk DJ in Toronto, Steve Fruitman, he has a show on the University of Toronto radio station, CIUT. He called me up and said, what are you doing this summer? And I said, well, I'm not doing too much. He said, well, how'd you like to go on the road? How'd you like to do a tour across Canada? I'm thinking well, with you, Steve? I'd played in bands with Steve before, And he's like, oh, no, not with me, with Stompin' Tom.
Oh, my God.
I was like, yeah, right, it's April 1st, you're calling me on, and, 2 days later, I got a call from Stompin' Tom. He said, well, hello, would you be interested in going on the road? And I was like, I just finished school. I did my teacher's degree, and I was looking, for something to do. I didn't have anything to do, and so I said, yeah, well, would you like me to come and audition for you, Tom? He'd heard our tape, and I guess he remembered me and stuff.
Yeah, always.
And Steve had suggested me. He was looking for a stand-up bass player, so he said, well, I'm going in the studio on Wednesday night. Why don't you come up to my house and we'll take it from there. So I went up and we went in. We recorded a song. I think that was in 2001, and I played with Tom until he died.
Wow.
And then so after that, I was came back, and I was looking for something to do. Charlie was in the House of Commons, and Tom had passed away and stuff. So. That was when I decided to, move from the bass a little bit, and I tried to, be a guitar player and a singer and stuff, and that's where I heard that Hayley used to go to these song circles and stuff like that. So I thought I'd go and check them out, and we got together, and I had my acoustic guitar, and Hayley had her acoustic guitar, and she said, I thought you said you played bass. You should leave the guitar at home. Why don't you bring your bass over? And I did. I think we came back here. We sat in this garden, actually. Probably the first time we played together, and there's something about Hayley's style and her personality and the songs that she had that was just so appealing to me. It really, I think our musical ideals really matched together, and like I often joke, I got my PhD in country music playing with Tom, because we would have jams in the hotel room every night. He'd said, okay, boys, tonight we'll have a Hank jam. We're only going to play songs by guys named Hank. So, man, I know every Hank in the world, like Hank Snow and Hank Thompson and Hank Lachlan and Hank Williams. And
having somebody like Tom saying, okay, this is the next song we're going to do, and you're just picking them up, right?
He was a great mentor. And
yeah.
He taught me a lot of stuff, and but playing with Hayley was the same thing, because she has her own thing, and she's also a great mentor with the style that she has, and she's got a beautiful. Hayley plays with her fingers all the time in this wonderful finger picking style, and it's just lovely to play. And I think over the years we decided, we liked doing the folky acoustic stuff, and then there was a point where Hayley just decided that she needed to get an electric guitar, and I was like, well, I really my back really hurts lifting this bass around all the time. I'd rather get an electric bass, I'll tell you the truth. So
Totally.
we decided that we're going to go a little bit more electric. Now that's my version. I don't know, yours might be a little bit different. But,
No, I think that's pretty.
No, that's really
how
it's
it
really cool
works.
because you like I said, the first few times I've seen you guys, it was all acoustic guitar.
Yes.
Like Peter was on a mandolin most time, or either that or a classical guitar you'd go to, wouldn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, and
With
then
nylon
nylon
strings, and
strings,
you always had to stand.
ukulele.
And that's such a cool sound. But like you guys said,
Yeah.
like that last show, I asked for a little bit of music beforehand. You're like, well, you're just got to see it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like I'm totally cool with that, and it's awesome. It's very, very captivating. It's very, very. Like I keep coming back to the word raw. It's in your face. It's that pop British, not pop. It's that punk British feel. You know, it's really cool.
Absolutely.
Like my mom really enjoyed it, and I'm not trying to
Good.
date you guys, but like my mom was like that was cool. You know, I liked her. Like
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
if we can make music like Hayley writes songs that appeal to a wide generation, from young kids up to older people, I think that's great. I think it's got a universal appeal in the songs that she's been writing.
Totally. So are you guys going to be recording an album, or what's your plans with your music?
Yeah, we're hoping to. We've had Nick Chelios down to the house before and recorded like the album Tim was just talking about, New Grievous Angels, Summer
Yep.
Before the Storm. That look at me plugging as
Yeah.
well.
Find it on iTunes.
I got all the words or the name in.
Oh boy, I like
Yeah,
that.
Get
It'll
on
be on vinyl very
Bandcamp,
soon.
and yeah,
Very
vinyl
cool.
coming out. But that was recorded here,
Yeah.
and so was Blessington Bad Tractors album. So we were thinking it'd be good to get Nick Chelios down. He's in Toronto, and it's a really nice. Like, there's plenty of room inside. It's got a good sound.
Beautiful sounding house.
And it's your home too, so it's that feel, right? Like you always hear of bands like going to a home and like staying there for the month or even longer to write the album, and it's that's a cool feel too, right?
Yeah, it's really comfortable, and there's plenty of room for people to stay over as well. Because if you've got people coming from all over, it's nice if you can just put everybody up together, and then they're not going off to hotel rooms or this and that and coming into a studio,
waiting
you're
for
all
somebody
together.
or exactly.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it also puts a really good vibe in the house.
Yeah.
Like, I think that music, just like guitars, hold something in them.
Totally.
I think having that in the house feels really good to have had that created.
I agree. Like a location, like you said, like being underneath this tree, it's just a good feel. Like, and then when you walk into places of old music, you can just feel the music like out of the walls.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. I know it is.
Yeah.
It's like it's an energy. It's a spirit. It's
like
really
old
cool.
theatres have got that feel. Yeah, it's nice. So yeah, we're hoping to do that at some point. We were waiting to sort of, things go back to a little bit more normality and then see where we are with it.
It's Chrissy here from Tyrannosaurus Pets, and this is your Animal Break. Today we're talking about hermit crabs. Check it out. I don't want to stress them out, so I'm not going to pick them up. But this is an adult Halloween crab. Silly me. They're also called moon crabs. Now this guy is about 2.5 inches, so you can tell for sure that those claws, the pinchers, woo, they're going to get you if you get your finger in there. So be very careful with your pet. Now these guys, thankfully, are on the least concerned, so they're not endangered in any way. They're kind of a Caribbean crab, if you will. Peru, Costa Rica, all of those places, and they're gonna live actually mostly on land. And they're nocturnal, so they're going to go on land, and they're going to burrow down in there, in that coconut husk that's left, and the beach sand, and they're going to enjoy their sleeping while the sun is most hot. And then they'll come out and be an opportunist for food. These guys will eat just about anything, so that's kind of an incredible thing. These guys get their name from their color. As you can see, they're purple and orange. Perfect Halloween colors, right? All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little animal break at Tyrannosaurus Pets, 292 Front Street, downtown.
That's cool. So how are you guys dealing with COVID? I know you guys were pretty heavily playing over in the county and stuff like that before that, correct? Weren't you?
Yeah.
What was
Campbellford.
Well, we were down at the Drake for a while.
Yeah.
We had like a residency at the Drake.
That's right. That's cool.
That was just before all the COVID stuff.
Yeah. So obviously, you've had to stop doing what you're doing, and you're just plugging and making some new songs. I guess probably, right?
it was kind of nice when you contacted us, because we'd been working on a lot of stuff and I'd written a whole bunch of new songs, and I felt like I really wanted to share them. Like I was really ready to share them, but there was nowhere to do that. And we'd been getting together and practicing, so we were feeling tight. We were feeling like we had something good that we wanted to put out there. So when you contacted us, it was great. You know, and that was the first gig we've done for since everything stopped.
Well, that was the universe again, because I was just like, okay, I got this. I had Bill Wood, and then I had Chris on the bass, and then I had the Jaybirds, and I was like, I just want a different style. And I was like, you guys were perfect. You know what I mean? It's such a cool.
Good. And we were ready. You know, we'd been, because I think some people kind of went and did other things.
Yeah.
And you know, we're pursuing other things, but we'd still been doing a lot of music, so we were kind of like, we were well practiced.
Me, I have not picked up my guitar.
Oh.
Literally, like the only time I picked up my guitar is when I had the show, and it was like a week before the show. Like we better practice, guys. But I've been doing this, and this is why I started at the beginning of COVID, and I was like, I know everything's gonna dry up, and I know that, so I can still see certain people and yada yada yada, and I want to keep this music scene alive around here. So this is what I'm doing, and it's really, this is gonna be episode 25 or 26, and I'm telling you right now, man. I keep saying it, and with people who have watched it, if you're not coming out of COVID with a new skill or a new album or a new, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? You know, so you have to take advantage of it. So
there's more free time.
We sort of did that too. We decided Hayley wanted to do some YouTube videos, so we've done about 4 or 5 now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been putting those out
Just
as
putting
well.
And it's just networking, and YouTube's so cool because it's worldwide, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's really cool.
And what you're doing here, it kind of, as you say, it keeps it all going still.
Yeah.
It hasn't let things ferment, like things are still moving, and that's really important.
Well, and I've reached out to certain people at certain times and the right times. Like me reaching out to you for that show, it was just the right time. And there's been people who have been like not feeling well about themselves or down, and it's like, I'm like, I want to do this, and I'm so positive about all of it, and I'm like, let's do this. So it's like they come and they're like, you know, thank you, because I had nothing going on, and I was really getting to this point where I was like, what is going on, right?
Yeah.
But
the
music will live on. It lives on for sure.
And it definitely gives a direction. It gives us something to head towards, or something to work towards.
And it's cool to get to know everybody around here, because like I'm feeling spoiled and selfish because I'm getting to meet all the best people around the area, and then now I'm friends with all of them, and it's like it's great, because like we know Clarence well, but Anna watched the interview the other night, and she's like, oh, I didn't know that about him. So it's just really neat to know where, you know, like I didn't realize the bands you're in or what you've done either. You know, it's pretty cool. It's amazing.
You're really good at connecting people. You seem to have a real good knack at that and bringing the community together. And I think that's great. Like you said about that show at Sterling, I think that was one of the things that we really appreciated, was just, you know, the number of people that you were bringing together. That was really cool. My
parents have always pointed out to me, said, you should be like the show booker, runner, the person who does it all, because this is what I really am good at for some reason. And that's the reason why I have such a big band with my Jaybirds. I'm like, come on, everybody, let's play. You know, I'm like, I love bringing everybody on the stage and playing together. And my big thing is, I'm not a great musician, but I love music so much that it shows and it comes out, and people can appreciate what I'm doing because of it. You know what I mean?
It's not about the notes you can play a minute or whatever. It's really about the passion, and I think that's the thing with us. We just, you know, we're not the greatest musicians in the world, but we just love what we do, and obviously that comes out with the Jaybirds as well. You know, you guys really, you know, it's obvious you love what you're doing.
And like, how much fun do you have with these people? And like, people who don't play music don't understand the connection that is like the weird electricity that goes through the air when we're jamming. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just to be able to,
right.
It's just so weird. It's like it's another energy in the air. It's hard to explain it, but you guys understand what I'm talking about, because
we were saying sometimes it's like there's a third instrument there when things just gel just right, and you almost create this other frequency, and it's like having another thing in the room. And that sounds like what you're talking about. You know, that's what happens. It's the energy that happens, and there's no feeling like it. It feels really good.
It's really true.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The child was all in nature, she was a one sudden mischief machine. Accepting what she was given and making of it what she could. She attracted wild, operating and counting a minor key. She's a one person
cool. So you guys do have some videos out on YouTube. What's your YouTube channel?
It's under Hayley Austin.
Hayley
no,
Austin.
Actually, Hayley and the Pirate Queens.
Hayley and the Pirate Queens?
Yeah.
And then you got a few videos out there, and then we're going to have this going to be up. And so is there anywhere else we can find music from you guys? Like, do you guys ever put anything on Spotify or?
Yeah, not at the moment.
No? That's really cool. But we can find your stuff out there.
Yeah, I think every Grievous Angels album is out on Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming services. There's also videos probably for just about all the songs on those albums. Blessington is available on all the streaming services as well. That's the Bad Tractor album.
Yeah.
And Bad Tractor is a local group around Belleville that play every once in a while.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've seen some stuff on Facebook of Bad Tractor like playing at like what's the one down on number 2 beside TSC?
Yeah, the Beaufort.
Yeah, Beaufort. I think I've seen some stuff here and there. So
Yep.
I would love to meet up with you guys too at some point too, and we can spread the love out, and right, it'd be really great.
Take a listen to Blessington and see what you think.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
What artists do you listen to most right now? What's your biggest influence for artist-wise?
Right now, I'm listening to a lot of PJ Harvey because she's just re-releasing a bunch of her albums in order that she made them. Plus, she's doing like demo versions of each album. So I'm really listening to those.
That's
a lot
cool.
because she's just re-releasing them all. I also been listening to a lot of Courtney Barnett because I suppose she hasn't got anything out for a while, a couple of years or something, but I really like Courtney Barnett, so I've been listening to her. So they're my kind of most recent ones. But then I also go back through, like I said, I really like UK Subs, The Stranglers, The Clash, and those are always on my playlist. I'm always listening to those. And I think it was like last time I went over to England, I managed to ship my vinyl over at last.
Oh, really?
And that felt really good.
That's
because
neat.
when I first moved over here, I just moved with suitcases. I didn't pack anything, and ship anything. So all I travelled with was suitcases. Luckily the children were very little, but they had their own luggage allowance, so I also filled their luggage with stuff. We won't tell them. Oh no, they're going to hear this one. Yeah, we can cut that bit. So I didn't have a lot when I moved here, and I had to leave my vinyl behind because it was something I just couldn't bring with me in a suitcase.
Yeah, it's a big stack.
Yeah.
Heavy.
So it wasn't until I went over last time that I was like, you know what? And of course my mum was like, get that out of my house. So it was about time as well. So I just got it all packed up and I got all my vinyl over, all my singles, everything. And it just felt so good. And it was really interesting to listen to that stuff again because there was stuff that I only had on vinyl that I hadn't heard for a long time. And it wasn't being played over here, of course.
Yeah.
So it was just really neat. So, that was a good long time where I was just going through everything and refinding things I hadn't listened to for such a long time. Especially the singles, that was so cool.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of those artists would just put out like a single and it would be like
a lot of punk bands.
there's like 1 or 2 songs in each one, right?
Yeah, there was
so
no album.
Here's another kind of question from there. What's the first music you kind of remember from your parents? Like what?
My mum is really influenced. Like she was listening to the Kinks a lot, the Yardbirds, the Stones, the Beatles, all that kind of stuff. Like she was into that kind of. She would also I remember on a Saturday morning if she was cleaning, she'd put on Cat Stevens. So she'd be Cat Stevens fan, but she was more into the rock type, like the Kinks and things like that. So that's what kind of really influenced me.
That's awesome.
And then later on, from listening to Cat Stevens from Mum, I started to get into like Nick Drake and Roy Harper, those kind of people which were more acoustic guitar songwriters. And they kind of really influenced me. And my mum was really into folk. Like we used to go to a lot of folk festivals when I was a child. Mum would take me along to them. And folk festivals were just kind of basically in a English village, and then the bands would play in different pubs in the little town, the little centre kind of thing. So I heard a lot of bands that way as well. So my mum was kind of like introducing me to music, live music, at a very early age, and I was hearing a lot of different folk music then. And I think that's where my folk roots came from a little bit. And then then it moved on to going to see live bands and getting into punk and kind of different stuff from there. But,
you're lucky to be even British for that punk scene. I guess you kind of were, weren't you?
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
And we had we had a great venue. I come from Portsmouth, which is on the south coast, so we were just, I think it's about an hour and a half from London on the train. So there was loads of gigs happening and loads of great bands playing. You know, we didn't have far just to go up to London, and Brighton had some really good venues. Unfortunately, Portsmouth used to get skipped quite a lot, but we didn't mind travelling. Like, the train systems are so great in England. Like,
Yeah, it's amazing over there.
Yeah, we'd often miss the last train, which was awful. But we had to sleep on the station and come home the next day, which was cool. But yeah, there was so much happening, and there were so many bands, and all my friends were always in bands as well. There was always music, and there was always, you know, some band happening that you could go see. So that was kind of.
Well, and that's the thing too. But I find about music is I can not enjoy some music, but if I see somebody play it live, I completely respect it and enjoy it so much more, because it's just, you know, and it's just such a different thing. Live music compared to like a track, it's such a different thing. It really is.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to go up that way.
You see sometimes as well, if they've got support band, you see a support band as well, and sometimes you prefer the support to the band you went to see.
Completely.
So you find stuff like that, and they'll tell you something else that's playing or who their influences are.
Yeah, like I love the Black Keys. My brother's like, I've seen them so many times open up for bands when they were like they just started. There's just the drummer and the guitar player, right? And he's like, I've seen them so many times. And he's like, like they finally made it. He's like, I knew they were gonna, you know what I mean? Like they're always the opening band, and it's like,
it's great when you get to see that though, and you were thinking about staying in the pub a bit longer and not going over to the venue so early, and then you're really glad you did. You wandered through and saw the support. And sometimes they can be mind blowing, and like I say, better than, you know, sometimes the main band can be disappointing. Whereas the supports, I've seen some great bands that way.
Because that's the thing, you hear something, you know the band from the track or the album, and then you go see them, and they don't hold up to what they're. What the production value was, right? And that's a scary thing too when you're going to record. Make sure, I love doing live off the floor whenever I'm recording, because that's what you're doing instead of like trying to make it to like a click track and hard, but which is the proper way to do it. But I love raw stuff.
I don't know if that's the proper way.
Yeah, like I say, I like raw stuff, right? So it's like I like that feel.
I think the music we grew up with wasn't made with click tracks.
Not at all. And actually, that's why I think we like it so much better. Yeah,
like there's breeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about you? What's your biggest influence for music right now? Who are you listening to?
Well, you know, to me, when I was little, I had two older brothers, and they really influenced my taste, because we always had a lot of records around the house, and growing up it was, you know, two guitars, bass, and drums, and so I think that the Sadies are probably the best band in the universe. You know, I love everything the Sadies do. But, you know, bands I came up with, Rio Statics just put out an album a year ago that's phenomenal. The Sky Diggers have been putting out some albums and stuff like that are really good. So there was a lot of bands that sort of came up in the scene that I was coming up with that I still am happy that they're putting out. You know, I saw the Rio Statics open up for the Tragically Hip at Maple Leaf Gardens, and it would be hard pressed to say which I like better. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen some just transcendent rheostatics shows over the years, and the Sadies as well, you know. But growing up, like for me, it was the Beatles and the Stones, and it was hard to explain to Tom that the first time I heard "I'm Moving On" it wasn't by Hank Snow, it was by the Rolling Stones. It was on, you know, Got Live If You Want It or whatever, you know. And it's like, oh, Rolling Stones, like, what's that to me? You know, poor Tom, he didn't want to say that he knew who Neil Young was and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't called classic rock when I was growing up.
It was called rock.
It was just the records that we had around the house that were my brothers and stuff like that. And when they moved out, I got to inherit them. And I think the thing about both Hayley and I is that one of the things that we have in common is we both like vinyl, and we have a lot of records. And it was so nice, like Hayley said, to go over and just reunite her with her vinyl and bringing it back. And you know, I still have the records that I grew up with. Like I could, they keep getting more and more. I think my floor is going to give out one day, but there's just something about listening to a record that I love. Even, you know, getting up and turning it over and just listening.
There's something romantic about it.
People, when CDs came out, people started making these CDs that were 90 minutes long, and I think that it's a lot to ask somebody to invest 90 minutes of their life in anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a Tom Petty album was 33 minutes long or whatever, and you had to turn it over halfway through.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for that, being concise like that. And the same with songs. You know, like when we came up, we were really a reaction against Tales of the Topographical Ocean, which is maybe a great record or whatever, but like, you know, again, it's so much of your life that you're being asked to sit through. You know, having songs that were like the first Wire album had 21 songs on it, and it was only 33 minutes long. You know, there's something about that's really, you know, like
Concise.
Absolutely.
All right, so here we are down at the Marmra Market. It's Saturday, and they have it pretty much every weekend, I'm pretty sure, down here, do they?
Yep.
That's right. And I'm here with Alexandria, and she has an amazing little business going here. It's called To Die For. So how are you doing?
Pretty good.
That's good.
I've sold a lot of t-shirts today.
Awesome. That's really cool.
At first they weren't going very well, but I started to sell them today.
Awesome.
Good.
So how did you get into this kind of thing?
Well, I was kind of inspired by my grandmother next to me. And I was seeing all the fun things she was doing and all the people that were coming over and stuff. And I thought as a little job, I might start it up. So then I started it up and it was a good idea.
Here we are now, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So how long have you been doing this kind of stuff?
Not very long, because I've only been here 2 times.
Yeah.
So I've only had this stuff for around a month, so
Very
not
cool.
too long.
Very, very, very cool. And where can people find this kind of stuff? Pretty much you just sell it on the markets, or do you also have like a Facebook page people can
I
find
do
you
have
on?
a Facebook page,
Yeah?
but it's not set up for my business quite yet.
But people can message you through there, and maybe they can email you whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very cool. So where did you learn this kind of stuff? Did you learn it from your grandmother and your mom, or?
Yes, my mom knows how to sew for my grandmother, because my grandmother's a very good sewing person. So my mom kind of said one day, let's start cutting things up and see where that takes us. So here we are now.
That's awesome. And how old are you?
I'm 13, almost 14. I'll be 14 in August.
That's very cool. This is inspiring because my daughter here, Emra, she's 12, and she's actually been cutting up pieces of her shirts and sewing them onto her pants and making her own pants. So that's kind of a cool little thing that how you kind of got started too then, right?
Yep.
Very cool. So looking through this, you got cool stuff like headbands, you got dog bandanas and scrunchies and t-shirts. That's really, really cool. So what's a t-shirt go for?
Well, it depends on what size. The kids is $10, and small, medium, large, and extra large are $15.
Very cool. That's awesome. And you got everything else all marked out here.
Yep.
That's so cool. Well, I really, really appreciate you taking a minute with me and doing a local business break. Okay? Thanks, guys. We've almost lost something in music that way. Back in the day when there was a record player, it was like almost the center of your room, and you go and you put the record on and you drop that needle on it, and you would all sit around and listen to the record. Like, no one just sits around and puts on a CD or throws an MP3 on anymore and sits around and listens to that.
Yeah.
It was a center point, and it was like my dad. It was a simpler time. You know what I mean? And like you're saying now that an album's 90 minutes is because you want to be able to put it on and click the number 16.
Yeah.
And now I'm listening to that song.
Yeah.
But before it was like even with a tape, you had to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to song 2. You had to start at the beginning. So like I had tapes because like I didn't grow up with records. I grew up with tapes, right? So like the same thing. You had to rewind it, and then you knew word for word until your favorite song, which was song 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's something to do with that. And I really enjoyed what you just said there, and I kind of brought it to my mind. So with that being said, that when you guys do record an album, you're gonna try and, I guess they call it an EP these days. It'd be like 5 to 6 songs. Is that kind of what you want to do with like a 30, 20 minute?
10 songs.
I
10
think
songs,
we're going to
yeah?
go for... I had thought about that because a lot of people have been putting out EPs.
Yeah.
It crossed my mind, but then I thought, no, we've got...
Yeah.
I don't know, we've got more that we would like to
Yeah.
share, and it
Yep.
still wouldn't be too long.
No,
Yeah.
it's not going to be 90 minutes, that's for sure.
No.
No.
And, you know, like at Sterling, when we got up, we're no nonsense, we just get on with it.
You told me, you're like, it's funny because I was like, I told everybody you could have, I said 20 to 30 minutes or something like that, and then because like I'm just trying to make sure everybody didn't feel too pressured, and then I was like, so yeah, you can have 20 minutes you want. You told me 30, and I'm like, you have 40 if you want. Take 40. I just don't want to put too much pressure on you. You know what I mean? But I love that because you were ready.
It
Yeah.
was 31 minutes.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have been timing it, and you know what
Yeah.
you're doing. And like,
And
good
if
for
we
you.
cut it down, that would have been like a lot of songs gone because we were just like, my songs are pretty short.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, we're going to have to like knock off 3 or 4 songs because we are just bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam. We're not like,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about how I wrote that. I don't want to go on, like that's up to other people
Yeah,
to listen
that's
and
right.
interpret.
That's right.
I don't want to talk about the song before I sing it, and I don't want to
Or
be
after,
talking to
yeah.
people. I just want to go, hi, this is who we are, do it,
Here we go.
and then get off the stage.
And not only that is you guys were practicing that, and then you probably also a big thing too is when you go to make an album is the song order, right?
Yeah.
Like because the album's got to tell a bit of a story, right?
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
have I hate you and then I love you. No, it should be I love you, I hate you. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Like
there's always details.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important in everything in life. Like think about the details.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And that's one of the details. Yeah. Like really think about it. Why just throw something together if you're going to do something? Do it well. Otherwise, why bother?
So on your album, are you gonna put on the Mary Poppins song? You guys blew me away. I think everybody was like, "What the hell?" And it was awesome. You really should. You should make it because you guys made it your own. You know what I mean? That was so cool. That was my favorite. Well, it wasn't my favorite part, but like, I'm glowing right now thinking about it. It was so. I was like,
yeah.
Is that the chimney sweep song or what? Like, good for you. Like that was so great.
My on Boxing Day in England, they always used to put that on as the movie. When I was growing up as a kid, it was always that movie. Yeah. So I just thought it would be. And my mum was kind of into, she's into kind of shows a bit as well, like show tunes and stuff, those kind of things. So I thought it'd be really cool to do that one.
Well, with the accent, geez, man, and everything. That was so cool. That was so cool.
And it's kind of, I think it's easier to do when you're here. If I was doing that in England.
Yeah, they're like, oh, shut up. Right?
Yeah, because they've seen it and heard it so many. They'd be all like, oh, it reminds me of Boxing Day when I was a kid, and I hated that. It was the boring time. Dad was snoozing. I'm snoring too loud. But I can do it here. Yeah. And it's like doing a Kate Bush song. It's easier to do here, I think, than in England because people know it in England and they have their own ideas about it.
That's right.
I think it's also important to bring new stuff to people.
Yeah.
So by doing covers of songs that people, that's a pretty obvious one, Chim Chim, but if I was doing a Courtney Barnett cover, which we do, not everybody's heard of Courtney Barnett, and it's good to put her name out there and kind of share her stuff.
That's right. And then when somebody finds that, they're like, "Oh, with that song," and then they go and then the next thing they're gonna find a whole another catalog of music that they never even knew.
Yeah. And the other thing is never to underestimate your audience because we do these songs and we think they're pretty obscure, but we were playing at the Port in Trenton and somebody came up to us after the show and he said, "Oh, like I really liked it when you did that PJ Harvey song and that Courtney Barnett song, like that was great." So, there are people out there that sort of appreciate it, and the people that don't will hopefully get it in time. But it's really nice that there are people out there that appreciate what Hayley's.
And that like him sitting in the crowd and he's like, she's playing a PJ, you know what I mean? Like, oh my god, and
it would be cool. If I heard somebody doing something that I really like that never gets played, I'd be like, yes, they're playing that song that I never hear.
Cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's so many bands that you go down to hear that are, like if I hear a band doing Riverboat Fantasy one more time, I'm just gonna kill myself.
I was in one of those bands.
But you know what I mean? And people
play Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sure, you must get that too. And so as soon as you bring out an acoustic guitar, people are doing that because it's the one song they know. Oh, play the one song we know. It's like, well, we have some other songs that maybe you might come to like better than Wagon Wheel, and you know what I mean?
So in my band For Love, I had a mentor in that band. I started with Doug Pettit, and he was probably 20 to 30 years older than me. I met him at a temp job. We were both setting up this place, and I was tapping away on a thing one night, and he was like, "You play drums?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "Cool, I play guitar. I'm not from around here. I'm from Toronto." He played in bands his whole life. We started a band, and it was every single time we did anything, we weren't allowed to do so I was like, "Let's play a hit song." He's like, "Okay, we're gonna play She Didn't Know. We're going to play the song that not many people know. We're not going to play New Orleans is Sinking. We're not going to play Blow Out Hideout. We're not, you know what I mean? So, yes, we can play Neil Young, but we're playing B-side Neil Young. You know what I mean? And that's also what the Bees Knees do. They're playing the B-side of everything, you know what I mean? Which is awesome because we all love these artists. Yeah. And I love all these artists, but I can't be that person to play that song. You know what I mean? So it's really cool. That's really neat. I love pulling out music that just people, like Chris Tischbein said at my Sterling show, he said, I'm here playing a bass solo song and it's gonna be a long song and I'm gonna play two of them. He's like, not many people, most people roll their eyes. He's like, but I know out of the 50 people in the audience, two of them are gonna be like, that was it. You know what I mean? And if you can grab one person out of the audience, then that's a win for all of us. Yep. And that's a win for them.
And as a bass player, I really appreciated seeing Chris there and the stuff that he does. I really love it.
Yeah. I love what he's doing right now, and I've been really, really, really like, just yes. And same thing. So here you go again. So Chris, literally, when I reached out to him, I didn't even realize he was putting out an album, and he just got the box of CDs. When I talked to him, he's like, "Man, actually, I got an album. I don't know how to release this." And I was like, "Let's do this, man."
Release party.
So I started like, he gave me CDs, and I started promoting it, saying, you know, share this, check out this, yeah, and I'll mail you CDs. So I started mailing everybody CDs, and that's my the coolest thing, because I literally opened the mail yesterday, and every freaking piece of mail I grabbed, I said, "No good news comes in the mail," and I'm just hawking bills, right? And then I get people messaging me going, "Thank you so much, I got these CDs in the mail," and I'm like, if you can get something cool in the mail, that's a good thing during COVID. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to write the song "No Good News Comes in the Mail."
Doesn't come from Amazon.
That's I got to figure this out. It's like "No good news comes in paper mail," or I don't know. I'll figure it out one day.
Yeah.
But there's a song behind that. I know there is. It's really cool. We're missing one person out of the Hayley and the Pirate Queens original group that I've seen. And Peter Fletcher, is it?
Yeah, Peter Fletcher. He was playing ukulele and guitar with us.
Yeah, that's right.
He's just started a new enterprise. He started his business called Fleet Street Barber Company. And he got really busy with that. It was a lot of work. So he was just taking a little back seat from the band and said, "Oh, well, you know, I'll give it a little rest," because it was just a lot that he had a lot on his plate.
Yeah.
Now we still get together and play at the shop. So Peter's working on doing like a barbershop sessions type thing from the shop.
That's very cool.
And we've got instruments in the shop because of COVID. They're all out the back, and of course we're closed right now.
Yeah.
But Fleet Street Barber Company has got a bar there, and we normally have all the instruments out, and you can come and play and all that kind of stuff.
That's really cool. Well, I should do a business break on that. Whereabouts is that? Is that in Trenton?
Yeah,
is it?
in Trenton downtown on King Street.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah.
It's a really cool little barber. He opened it just before COVID. So we ran for about 2 months. I think we opened in February, then we closed in March.
Yeah.
And then we were open for a bit, and it was crazy busy because everybody was getting their hair cut. So it was a great time to have a new business because we were really busy. But then, you know, obviously we're closed again. But like I say, we've got plans to do music there and things. But everything, because we keep shutting down, everything just takes a bit longer to get rolling.
Totally.
You know? And we're just kind of so busy when we do start again with cutting hair that we haven't had time to get the music stuff going.
Very cool.
But Peter and I play there, and so we still get to play together, and that's kind of cool to do as well.
That's neat. Yeah, I can't wait to go and check it out, because I've seen some pictures on Facebook too, and he's kind of got old schoolish, doesn't he? Like, I know he's a dapper lad like me, dresses proper, and it's all part of it. You know, like if I'm gonna get my hair cut from somebody, you better look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You want to have trust in them and have faith in them.
You know,
he's just done a new little video as well, a Lego video you should check out.
Oh, cool.
Because we're looking for staff as well.
Oh, neat.
So
Cool.
you have to check that out on Facebook. He's it's on Fleet Street Barber Company.
Okay, cool. We'll get everybody to go check that out. I'll put a link on the bottom too with that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, do you guys have any upcoming shows or anything planned, or?
No, at the moment we're going to do Porch Fest.
Yeah.
You know, as long as everything's running well.
And that's in Belleville, obviously, because I think the Sterling one was canceled again this year.
24th of September, the weekend of the 24th, so it's later in the season.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far.
Yep.
Like, depending on how things go.
Exactly.
They're planning to do it. Yeah.
Good.
And we're going to be on Tracy Bray's porch, which is on the corner of Bleecker and Bridge, I think.
Very cool.
Bleecker and Bridge. Yes.
Yeah.
Bleecker and Victoria.
I don't know.
One of those. Well, head out to Porch Fest there in Belleville and just walk around, because there's
right,
so many cool,
there's lots of cool stuff.
Yes,
You
so
don't have
much
to
cool
come
stuff
straight
going
and see
on.
us.
Yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
should.
Right on. Well, we can't wait to come see all that. Other than that, I guess you guys have nothing booked right now, because I'm kind of doing the same thing with Jaybirds. I said to Anna, if somebody comes to me and books me, I'll do it, but I'm not reaching out for shows right now.
No.
Just seeing last summer was the summer of the shower curtain and stuff like that. Like I don't think that we really want to rush out to play behind a shower curtain.
Yeah.
You know, not that there's anything wrong with that. But
No, kudos to everybody who's doing it, and kudos to all the places that are putting these people up. But it is odd. It's like, so we try to do a live show, like just like a streaming a live show, and like that was weird too, because you need facial engagement.
Yes.
It's a hard thing to do, is just to play to yourself. Like
that's right.
It really is. Unless you're playing just to yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you guys are here jamming, it's a different thing. But if you have a thing on, you're trying to stream and like put on a show, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so awkward. And being behind a fishbowl of glass, you kind of feel the same way.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
A different world.
Yeah.
Well, that's good though. Cool. We're really looking forward to hearing this new album coming out, because I think I think the world needs it. It's really cool just to put out all this energy and keep it going that way.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you for everything you're doing as well.
No worries. Well, I'm like I said, I'm kind of selfish and spoiled the way I'm getting out and seeing everybody. It's like you gotta make a way, right? Like, you know.
Yeah,
good,
but
though.
it keeps us all connected, and that's really important.
Yeah, it does.
It's important we all stay connected. We're stronger that way.
That's right.
The main thing.
It's really good.
It's more fun that way.
Right on. Well, that side, I think that's pretty good, eh?
Yeah.
That's another episode of What's Happening. I want to thank Hayley and Tim so much, and go find them on YouTube. Subscribe to her channel. You guys have a Facebook page or that
We
stuff?
do, yeah. Hayley and the Pirate Queen.
And I think you got an Instagram page.
Yeah.
You got, yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we're going. Because my kids right now are trying to get me on Twitter and TikTok, and I'm like, oh God.
Right.
I'm old because I'm on Facebook, but that's okay.
Yeah.
This is where most of my friends are seeing all this stuff. So go find them on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And like I said, we can't wait to see what's next.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
Joel.
you.
Thank
Joel.
you.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Guys came crammed into shiny new automobiles. Relaxed hands on cans, hats on hoods up. Standing firm, she fought her ground. Standing firm, she fought her ground. Maya's isolation, taken to another place. Maya's isolation, some dark hard face. Maya's isolation, doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, now she's in a different place. Got a full heart to be taken pacing on the inside. Backpack on, shoes pulled tight. She didn't know what she owned. She didn't know what she owned. Maya's isolation, taken to another place. Maya's isolation, some dark hard face. Maya's isolation, doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, now she's in a different place. Dignity full and lost, lying on the hard ground. Dignity full and lost, crying on the hard ground. She took me to places I didn't want to. She took me to places I didn't want to go. Maya's isolation, taken to another place. Maya's isolation, some dark hard face. Maya's isolation, doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, now she's in a different place. Now she's in a different place. Doesn't care what's going wrong. Now she's in a different place. Doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, taken to another place. Maya's isolation, some dark hard face. Maya's isolation, doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, now she's in a different place. Now she's in a different place. Doesn't care what's going wrong. Now she's in a different place. Doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, taken to another place. Maya's isolation, some dark hard face. Maya's isolation, doesn't care what's going wrong. Maya's isolation, now she's in a different place. Now she's in a different place.
All right, crew. There it is, episode 26 of What's Happening 613, and that was with Hayley and the Pirate Queens. I want to thank Hayley and Tim for having me into their home. It was a great interview, and the music is such a cool style. keep up the great work, and we can't wait to hear the new album coming out. So go check them out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that cool stuff. It's under Hayley and the Pirate Queens. I want to thank Alexandria from To Die For. I got a really cool tie-dyed shirt. It's like a guitar. It's really cool. And my daughter Emma got a really cool sweater. So go check out her at the Marmra market. Go check out all the markets. All the markets have so much amazing stuff, and these are local people making stuff, making food, making jams, making the honey that they make or produce, clothes. It's so cool to go to those markets and find locally made stuff. So go out and support local. I want to thank Crystal Kirk again from Tyrannosaurus Pets, downtown Belleville. She has so many cool pets down there. If you ever need anything like advice or a cool critter or any supplies, go down there to Tyrannosaurus Pets because she's doing so much great stuff, and I love all of her animal breaks. So let's keep up that. And so there's so much more cool music coming up. I have so many bands coming up. I have some bigger people, big bands. When I say this, bigger people, I mean big bands. When I say this, you're gonna see what's coming up. Big band, baby. So anyways, that's what's happening, guys. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, What's Happening in 613. Go get me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, find it everywhere. Check out the Sterling Jaybirds. We've been doing some busking all around, so watch out for that. And love you guys. See you later. Peace. That's what's happening.